Hi, my name is Lindsay Robert. I'm a student here at Aspen University, and this is my video assignment for addiction counseling theories. And today I'm here to discuss Greta. She's the wife of a good friend and colleague of mine. Greta comes from Norway. She moved here to be with her husband. Unfortunately, she's having a difficult time adjusting to life here in America. She's considering divorce in order to move back to Norway and has come to me for counseling. Now, when I suggested it might be best for her to seek another therapist, she became upset and insisted that I work with her. My initial reaction towards Greta are feelings of sympathy. I too have uprooted my life to move for a significant other. About 14 years ago, I moved to Florida with my first husband, and I left my family and friends behind here in Massachusetts. Now, once we were both established in Florida, we got our jobs, we ended up with opposite work schedules and had very little time as a couple together. Now, I had a difficult time making new friends, and things were extremely lonely for me. And although Florida is considered another planet by some people, I only moved from one state to another. I couldn't imagine moving from one country to another and having that feeling of loneliness. So whatever Greta's going through must be extremely difficult. Now, I would certainly let Greta know that I have compassion for her situation, understanding that she did reject my first attempt at referring her to another therapist. If I could refer her to somebody that I know and trust and be able to relay that to her successfully, I would attempt to make the recommendation again. Now, because she does trust me, perhaps she'd be willing to trust my judgment in another professional. Now, understandably, this might not be an option, and if that were the case, I would consider counseling her myself. Now, the fact that I'm close friends with her husband does have the potential to be an ethical issue. Greta might want me to share sensitive information about her husband or ask me to mediate between the two of them, which I might not be comfortable with. She could very well share information with me about him that could change my opinion of him and could ultimately affect our friendship. Now, for the most part, these are the major issues that I could foresee if I were to counsel her. Now, I would need to prepare myself for these circumstances, and we would obviously need to set clear boundaries. I'd be sure to let her know that I would never share private information with her or her husband. Now, as of now, I don't feel like I technically have any responsibility to her. If anything, I have a responsibility to her husband as his friend. However, if Greta and I agree to engage in a therapist-client relationship, I would then have a responsibility to her as her counselor. While I would do my best to uphold the strong boundaries and maintain both relationships, which I would ultimately like to do, I would have to put my counseling relationship with Greta before my friendship with her husband. Now, in my opinion, I possess many of the values necessary to be an effective therapist. I view myself as an ethically responsible person. I care for the well-being of others. I have an excellent sense of humor. I'm willing to admit my mistakes. I'm ready to learn as I go, and I understand that as just part of growing as a therapist in general. And I have the ability to look at a situation from multiple angles, and I will most certainly consider the mind, body, and spirit when assessing a client, as suggested in our text. Understanding of cultural differences, and I would take them into consideration when counseling others, and do whatever research is necessary in order to make sure I fully understand those cultural differences. And in addition to these traits, there's a reason that Greta sought me out. Perhaps she sees something in my personality that provides some level of comfort to her. And if she feels that way, others may very well feel the same way. And for these reasons, I feel I would be able to effectively work with Greta, even if I weren't friends with her husband. But that isn't the case. We are friends. So even so, I still feel that I could work with her in a healthy, ethically sound manner. And just recently, a couple I've been friends with for many years decided to divorce. My friendship history with the husband goes back about 15 years, and my loyalty is with him in the end. However, over time, I had grown much closer to his wife. I was also able to better identify with her being a woman and having gone through my own divorce. Now, while I was happy to be a shoulder for him to cry on, his wife and I continued our friendship, and I sympathized with her side of the situation. And I never once shared information that was said to me in confidence. I simply let them speak and offered my advice when prompted. Now, for me, This is proof that I'm capable of setting boundaries in my personal life. Therefore, I believe I would have no problem setting professional boundaries with clients. So in the end, counseling the wife of a friend could have some complications, but as long as appropriate boundaries are set, I'm confident enough in my own abilities to remain professional while providing Greta with the best therapy possible.